as we sing. You are holy, holy, holy. You are holy, holy, holy. You are holy, holy, holy. I want to see you, for you are. We'll see you clear, for you are. I want to see you. Let's say it again. For you are. You are. Come on, sing to the Lord and say it. I want to see you. Yay! Repeat after me. Say, we'll see holy. We'll see holy. We'll see holy. We'll see holy. Say, we'll see faithful. We'll see faithful. We'll see faithful. We'll see faithful. I wanna see you. I wanna see you. I wanna see you. I wanna see you. High and lifted up. We wanna see you. We wanna see you. High and lifted up. Come on, sing it. We want to see you. We want to see you. High and lifted up. We want to see you. We want to. High and lifted up. We want to see you. We want to see high and lifted up. We want to see you. We want to see you. See high and lifted up. We want to see you. We want to see you. Yeah. 'Cause you're holy. And we'll see you as holy, so holy. And we'll see you as faithful, so faithful. And we'll see you as lovely, so lovely. So lovely. And we'll see you. And we'll see you as holy, so holy. And we'll see you as faithful, so faithful. And we'll see you as lovely, so lovely. So lovely. See high and lifted up. Can you sing that with us? Yeah. Yeah. High and lifted up. And we'll see you high. High and lifted up. We'll worship you face to face in all of your glory. And we'll worship you. And we'll worship you. And we'll worship you. See high and lifted up. Yeah. See high and lifted up. See high and lifted up. Yeah.
Middle Georgia, welcome to the WDDO Weekly Lineup. It's Regiment with Rhonda. Yes, it's Middle Georgia's very own Rhonda Bird. She's joining the Glory Express Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10:15 a.m. That's Regiments with Rhonda. Come, get just a little bit. 10:15 on the Glory Express, 980 WDDO. History repeats itself. The new dynamic duo, 107.9 FM and 980 AM WDDO. The Glory.
Homeland Village Cultural Center, serving the greater Macon community for over 30 years and is a pillar of our culture to our community, specializing in health and beauty items, which include natural shea butters, oils, medicinal healing tonic, natural incense. Literature includes cultural history book, Nutrition includes vegan meal planning, African attire, and much more. Yes, that's Homeland Village Cultural Center, located at 2910 Napier Avenue, Macon, Georgia. Call today 478 256 1166.
A lot of things have changed over the past 50 years. A lot of things have
Connecting
changed over
the
past.
community through gospel. The new 107.9 FM, W300EB, Macon, and WDDO 980 AM, Perry, Macon.
The views expressed on
Connecting
this
the
program
community
are not
through
necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
Ask Elaine, better ask Elaine. Ask Elaine, better ask Elaine. Ask Elaine, better ask Elaine. Ask Elaine.
Oh, welcome, welcome. It's Wednesday, y'all. This is your voice, Commissioner Elaine Lucas, welcoming you to Ask Elaine. And I'm joined here today on this wonderful Wednesday at 3 p.m. by my longtime friend, none other than Herbert Denard. And we're going to talk about some issues. In welcoming you, we want to welcome those on AM, FM, and those who are right here on the Glory Live. Randy Crawford, as usual, is the early bird arrival, and we appreciate him. Hello to you, and we hope that your day is going well. Y'all call us and tell us how you're dealing with the pollen, all the pollen in the air. I can hardly hear myself, and this has been going on for several months. So, does it seem like something different is happening? Is the world changing? You know, they say there's no such thing as climate change, but I know there is. 30 days of 100-degree weather and all this sort of stuff, pieces of the icebergs falling apart, and there's something going on. There's something going on, and human beings are responsible for a lot of these things that are going on. So, if you have an idea, if you have a comment that you want to make, our call-in number is 478-250-1444. We have with us, as I said before, none other than Herbert Denard, who is our co-host for today. And a little later on, we have been in contact with Sheriff David Davis, who, by the way, suspended all of those tickets in school zones. He says none of those going forward will be accepted. None of those. That doesn't mean you can speed in the school zone. So it still says 25 miles an hour. And I know kids are on spring break, but you still don't need to get out of the habit of going slower and being safer. This could be your kids, your grandkids. So just think about somebody else. But the fact is that the school zone cameras, those tickets, are not being accepted by the sheriff's department. So you just have to go back to what this thing was intended to do, and that's discourage speeding in school zones. But now there's still ways that you can be ticketed. So if it says 25, drive 25. If it says 30, drive 30. If 45, drive 45. Get into the habit of lowering your speed, and you'll save gas from what I understand. Is that right, Herbert?
That's
Save
right.
gas the slower you go. And you might get there without being all tense and upset and frustrated and everything. Overseer Mabel Randall, hello. Thank you. We hope to have an excellent program. We're going to talk about these speed cameras. Kimberly Houston Herbert has joined us. Good afternoon to you. And we want to wish a uh, happy spring break. I understand the public schools are closed this week and kids are out enjoying. And our school, EL High School Academy, is on spring break as well. So, Herbert, what are you doing over there?
I'm trying to cut
You
my
all
phone
right?
off. The technology is more advanced than I am.
Uh, Hildred Jones has joined us. Good afternoon to you. We are having a wonderful day, all except the pollen. Those of you who have, we'd like to hear what you're doing to alleviate your allergies. So if you want to put it in the chat or you want to call us, but we're talking about the school zone cameras and the fact that Sheriff David Davis has said that those tickets will not be honored. So if you receive a ticket going forward, then that ticket is no good. Herbert, what are your thoughts on?
I think that they should contact the sheriff or somebody at the office if you get a ticket, if you one come in the mail. Uh, it's a bad situation, but we have too many people speeding, period. We, unless, I tell you, they cheat on us. but black folks receive too many tickets compared to white folks. And a study been done. This is without the cameras. So obey the law. You save money on insurance also. A
Yeah,
lot of money.
yeah,
I know somebody special that their insurance rates are so high, they can't hardly pay them on a car. When you buy a new car, you gotta have everything, and your insurance could be out of sight.
yeah, yeah. Patrick says that he asked the question: should that money from school cameras be put in escrow until an investigation is done of people who were unfairly targeted? If Atlanta can refund, why can't Macon? Well, I have a simple answer for you. The money has been spent. Last night, last night at your commission meeting, I believe there were three ordinances that were presented and passed. One of those called for spending some of that money on additional salary supplements for recruitment and keeping officers in law enforcement. I think it was up to maybe 5,000 additional dollars per applicant to keep us stocked with police officers. The other some of the other money went to crossing guards, I believe, for the school system. And the other one, I believe, went to resource officers, which were the campus police, the campus board of education police officers, resource officers. Some of that money went for that. And so the money that we had collected locally, I think, which was like either 9 million or 11 million, 2 point something million of it went to the company that actually installed the cameras. And some of the elected officials were a little nervous because they had gotten a campaign contribution from some of the companies that installed the camera, so they were a little nervous about that. But the monies here in Bibb County, 2.5 of it went to that company. The remainder of it was used and was allocated, appropriated last evening by our mayor and the commissioners for public safety, which was the original intent. That was what was in the law that it could be used for.
It appears to me that if I'm not speeding, the cameras are incorrect. They shouldn't. They owe me money because I was an innocent victim. and you tell me all went to all these different places, and I'm the one paying the ticket,
Yeah.
and it was illegally, corruptly given to me. And I don't think if it's all that happened, if all that is true, and that's all I've read, I don't care about where all they spent the money, but I want some money coming back to me.
Well, Gwen Westbrooks with the NAACP was suggesting possibly that that was a solution. But I
Absolutely.
think the fact that that money has been taken and has been allocated for public safety, where are you going to get that money?
I don't care where
Additional
they get it.
money.
If they have taken money from me and the system they use is not the correct system, they should give that money back to me if I already paid my ticket.
Well, I know Atlanta, and Patrick. Patrick says this sounds like a speech trap scam, and it sounded that way to an awful lot of people. A lot of people complained, and Representative Dale Washburn from our community, who is in the House of Representatives, I think he's been there like 6 or 8 years. He introduced the legislation to outlaw the school zone cameras. There was another bill that was introduced that would limit school zone cameras and make sure that they were only operating during the time that school was in, because I understand in a number of communities, those cameras, people received tickets at times that were outside of the school hours. So there was a lot of confusion. There was a lot that that went on with it. We have Commissioner Donis Bryant who has joined us, and if you want to call in, Commissioner, and share any thoughts that you have on the school zone cameras, we would appreciate it. Our call-in number is 478-250-1444. A lot of people, Herbert, got multiple tickets. A lot of people got $100 ticket times 5, 10, and so forth.
They should be refunded.
Well, some questioned or challenged the tickets, and some did receive refunds early on. Now, I don't know if there's anybody listening, if you call us and let us know what the process was that you used, if you received a refund, if you challenged your ticket, what you did when you received yours. And we want to hear from people who received multiple tickets, because it's my understanding some people just, in the same day would get 4 or 5 tickets from that same uh, time period. But
Well,
remember that the whole idea was to bring about greater safety. I question the amount of the ticket and the number of tickets that were sent wrongly to people.
I'm just imagining if it's after hours, a person been driving a normal speed and they go through there, and they come back, they go back through it again, and it's not operational. They are getting 3 and 4 tickets for, let's say, like passing Birdell, and they come back and they pass Birdell again, and 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 they getting tickets, and it's not deserving, and they should be refunded.
Well, the
That's my philosophy.
state legislature has 2 bills. And just the other day, it's my understanding that something happened and the bills were not being considered. So we've got to watch. Now, tomorrow is supposed to be the last day, the 40th day of the session. And so there's got to be something done. And usually, if anything's going to pass, if if it can be combined or connected to or attached to another bill that's being considered, and that's one way of getting it through. So we will watch closely today and tomorrow, because after that, that is it for this year. Of course, those bills could come back up next year, but something needs to be done this year, or you'll still have people complaining about something wrong with this system. We want to welcome Randy Crawford says the bill 225 is on the calendar in the Senate for today. So these guys keep up. Randy and Ricky, they keep up with the legislation that's on the agenda,
What's on the
coming out of
agenda?
rules. The bill 225 dealing with school zone cameras. So that's good. I was a little worried that it was not on the calendar the other day, and so you're getting real close to the end of the legislative session. Patrick says it is not just a fine or money payment. An innocent person is being charged with a misdemeanor. And you're absolutely right. Um, Patrick, I hope that you heard what we said, that on last evening, our county commission, the mayor presented, I believe it was three ordinances which called for allocating some of that money, school zone camera money. And we either got 9 or 11 million that was assessed to our
But
local
but
folks.
if you could imagine a person making minimum wages or a little higher than minimum
Absolutely.
wages, and they drive through there and they get this big fine, let's say one time, $100. They don't have money to pay that,
That's right.
and they got it after hours.
Right. Right.
They should have that money should be refunded. I know the mayor and the commissioners. They got an awkward situation down there because the mayor presents everything and almost controls everything, and the commissioners don't even have a power to do anything unless they get some of the Republicans that are the majority.
Right. Right. That's what happens when you approve a consolidation
It started with
charter. It started with the consolidation, and once consolidation was in place, anybody who was in the office of the mayor has almost ultimate authority over just about everything. But commissioners can speak up. Commissioners can ask for a reconsideration if they voted for stuff. There are some things that people can do if you're an elected official. And we're going to be talking about the water board a little bit too. Speaking of um, an outdated setup, y'all just don't know. We're going to talk too about and give you some details on the private hunting club that the water board has. I know some of them are listening. So if you're listening, yeah, we're going to talk about, Desmond and I are going to talk about the private hunting club that employees and their guests can be a member of. There's a membership fee, and then we even uh, take the we deduct the insurance that they have to have. That's a nice little setup for a very small group of folks. I'm not against hunting. My husband hunts and fishes and does all that stuff, but he's not a part of Make a Water Authority. So, did you know, citizens, that you have a private hunting club at the Make a Water Authority? And we have our meeting tomorrow. For those of you who wish to attend your governmental entity and find out more about where your money is going, um, starting at 2 p.m. tomorrow, we have the committee meetings. We meet just one day, y'all. Take care of all of that business. We meet one day, and that's the first Thursday of the month, which is tomorrow. We will start at 2 o'clock, and we will go through all of the different committees. It's my understanding that tomorrow we have the finance committee. I'm not on that. The engineering committee, I am on that one. So, and then the personnel committee, I'm on that one, and I chair that one. And there are some things that I've asked for that I've looked at the agenda, Herbert.
Yeah.
I don't see those items on the agenda. So that's the way you start trouble, by having someone who's serving as chair and then You have certain things that are supposed to be on the committee agenda. You get the agenda the day before the meeting. I just got this, y'all. This I ended up having to ask for a copy of the agenda and the supporting documents. And I went by the Water Authority and picked it up myself today. But anyway, that's how you start stuff. And then people want to say, oh, they're coming on here starting trouble, asking too many questions. You darn right. I'm going to be asking questions when I can't get an agenda for the meeting. Desmond Brown didn't get his agenda either. He had to request to get it sent back to him. So tomorrow, if you want to be a part of listening in to the committee meetings, join us at 790 2nd Street, the Albert Billingsley building, which should have had his name back on the front of the building months ago, but still does not, although it's been approved. We've approved it. And so how long does it take you to put Albert Billingsley building back up on the building? I guess it takes forever, huh?
If you want to do it, you could do it in one day.
Yeah. But they said they had to have the engineers to take a look at it. What do engineers need to look at a sign for a building for? Did the engineers have to look at the sign on your building, Herbert? There's one named for you down there. They had it ready that day when we went down for your celebration, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
So it doesn't take forever. But anyway, the meetings take place at 790 2nd Street, the main water board building, the Albert Billingsley building. And you need to be there. If you can come join us every month, we've had special guests. On tomorrow, we have Ms. Aisha Ellen, who is the head of the Keep Making Beer Beautiful commission, but she is also serving on a committee of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, and they are to be our guest. Your daughter is an AKA; she might be there.
Yes, she is.
Tomorrow, starting at 2 if you can, but the main meeting starts at 4, and that's the meeting where you can address the public. Prior to Gwen Westbrook's coming and asking that the public be considered in these in the with the agenda, there was no specific time for the board meeting to take place, so people had to go and just sit there from 2 o'clock until we got through with the committees, and then you would be there and be able to address the full board. That needs to change. We need to meet twice a month. Don't you agree, Herbert? Were the meetings held twice a month when
Yeah.
you were there?
Absolutely.
You can't take care of all of that business and have questions and get adequate answers, have staff to provide information, doing all of that, and then have your full board meeting all in the same evening. And I had someone to get really, really mad at me, yelled at me because I asked them to restate the motion that was made, and it happened to be the day that the Georgia game was being played down in New Orleans. And some of the folks on there are big Georgia fans, and they were so upset that we were asking too many questions. So when I asked one other question, he just lost it and just said the motion was blah 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 blah. And I looked at him and said, "How dare you raise your voice to me?" And I didn't walk away, Herbert. I just turned away, as you teach us to do. But I knew they were wanting to get out of there to go see that Georgia game, and I wasn't gonna let them use that as an excuse to not take care of the people's business. It's too important. All right, Commissioner Bryant is on the line. Commissioner Bryant, how are you?
Hey, Commissioner Lucas and Mr.
Hey,
Denard.
Hello, hello, hello.
it's always
Hi.
great to have you on.
Yes,
Tell
yes,
us
ma'am.
tell us what you want us to know
What I want, what I want y'all to know about the speed cameras is,
about
I
whatever.
was a misunderstanding too that about the cameras. I thought when the lights were flashing, that's when you had to slow it down, make sure you're going that speed. And we didn't realize, I didn't realize, and a lot of people in the community were like, didn't realize that even though it says 30, that that's what you're supposed to go the whole day, even when the lights are not flashing. And some people say, well, you're supposed to do the speed limit. But when you get on 75 and the speed limit is 70, a lot of people go 71, 72. So
Right.
until you tell people, give them the right information, then they don't know that when they're going through those speed zones, that they
Right.
that they're clocking you every time you go through, regardless
Well,
whether it's during the
yeah,
school hours.
yeah. So many people had questions about it, and it was such a large ticket until it just really left a bad taste in the mouths of a whole lot of people. And then those who ended up with multiple tickets, I can imagine that was, yeah, my son got one. And even though we kind of questioned what, the hours or whatever and the location, he went ahead and paid it, but there are a number of people who really should have pushed and questions. Miss Asha Ellen says that she will be there tomorrow at the water board meeting at 4, and we're looking forward to your being there. You and
I'm
the AKAs and anybody else who wants to attend. If you have a concern about water rates going up, because that's what some people are intending to do, put these costs on to the ratepayers, and ratepayers can only pay so much. Commissioner Bryant, what are some of the other things that were paid for? I've already mentioned the school crossing guards, but what were some of the other things that that the commission voted to pay for out of the ticket money?
the retention of officers to get
Hmm.
some higher paid officers to sign on, and they were talking about the young people that were looking at the salary and maybe wanted a higher salary, and they could get those younger people to join the force.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and they
yeah.
were talking about getting school resource officers.
Right.
Let me ask the commissioner: if
Yes,
you
sir.
get a ticket that you shouldn't have got because the ticket was ran or put on after hours, don't you think they should refund it?
Me personally, yes, but I'm gonna tell you, I think the lack of knowledge and the misinformation, people didn't know because I paid a ticket also by off of Williamson Road, Southwest. I just stopped going that way. But when you're trying to get in touch with the people, because it'll have like a signature of the sheriff's office, and when you call the sheriff's office, they'll say, "Well, we're not the ones that issued the ticket."
Yeah,
And then you try to get in touch with other people, and it's no way you can, but they tell you to mail it in if you want a hearing. A lot of people just don't want to go through that, so what they'll do is they'll say, well, I'm gonna go ahead and pay it this time, so that they know,
yeah,
what the rules are, so they pay it. But I think the more information of people getting the tickets, and they're realizing, I got this after hours or not during school, and the cameras were still rolling. I think now they're saying, "Hey, I could have fought that ticket,"
I
and they
know
just didn't know.
the question I'm raising is, since they gave you a ticket when you shouldn't have got a ticket, shouldn't the city and county give the person the money back because they got a
Well,
ticket they shouldn't have got?
well, I'm hoping that when Dale Washburn, Representative Dale Washburn, does that, that he goes into, he makes some kind of bylaw to say whether or not we get them back. The money is refunded to the people. That if it was past school hours, I of course think it past or a Saturday when school was not in session. I think that they should because the summer should not be running when school is not in session. So,
Uh-huh.
but that's just me. And if it ever came up to that, then I would vote that those people got their money back if that was the case. I saw that the mayor put some on there the other day that if people think that they could prove to him that they got the ticket after hours or when school was not in session, then he would pay it or he would take care of it. I think I don't want to say
I
pay
mean,
it, but I want to say take
how do
care of
you suppose to prove it? I mean, if you know you went through there after hours and got a ticket, uh, and they got your money, and then they find out that it was happened after hours.
Well, all the tickets have a time on them now. Whether the time,
Okay,
we just
all
have to
right,
think that the time is right. That they put them that the time that they gave you the ticket was a allotted time that was on there. So you have to think that the ticket was right in the way that it came on that part with the time.
okay.
Okay, I think these town hall meetings that the NAACP is going to have, I think that would be an ideal time when there are people who have concerns about the tickets. That would be ideal time for them to bring in anything that will push toward, will lead them toward maybe some resolution to this, because I know there were a lot of people who got tickets and they really were not justified. And for the average family, $100 might not be a lot to to um, some people, but $100 to a lot of people is all of their extra little side money
Sometimes it's
for.
not for the extra.
That's right. That's
I
right.
see we got the high sheriff in town.
Okay,
Yeah.
Sheriff David Davis has joined us. Commissioner, you're welcome to stay on if you like, or call us back, whichever. But we just appreciate you and your support for what's best for the community. You're one of the
Yes,
more active ones
Miss
on the
Elaine.
commission. Yes.
Miss Elaine, I have one thing to bring up, and I just want you
Okay.
to see when you go down Pioneer to Eisenhower, tell me, and you don't have to do it today. I want everybody to look at it who's on the radio. Um, I saw a sign that says "School reduce speed ahead" on Pioneer and Eisenhower between the pawn shop and Krispy Kreme. And I called Nigel Floyd. I just was trying to figure out what school is there for them to be putting that up, saying that the lights are going to be flashing. Do you know of a school near there? Because I rode through there and I don't see a school. I'm just asking. They just
There,
put it
I
up.
can't think of a school
Okay,
that's.
well, they just put that up for
You
you to
share.
slow your speed down.
They
Which
just
one?
put it up.
Yep, I'm going to take a picture and send it to you.
Okay, that would be
Well,
great. That doesn't sound
send
quite
that to
right.
me too, because
Okay.
Yeah, send it to the sheriff
yeah,
too. Oh my goodness.
Okay, I'll send it to you.
Maybe somebody was asleep during
yeah.
that time. We want to welcome our sheriff David Davis, and another part of this whole saga of the school zone tickets is the fact that there was apparently a different schedule for public schools and some private schools, and the sheriff received some calls, some complaints. Sheriff, you want to pick it up there? And welcome
Glad.
to Ask Elaine. We're glad to have you back. You know Herbert Denard over there.
I've
You're
seen him once or
legendary.
twice.
Yes,
Yeah,
once or
we were
twice.
so happy that you were able to change your schedule to
Well,
come in, because this is a very timely topic.
well,
So
I'm
pick.
glad to be here. I was doing applicant interviews, so we're trying to get some folks hired.
Oh, that is
That,
good. That
that
new
new starting
money
salary
will,
too. Yeah, that's
yeah,
right. So
yeah.
that's going to
What's
be
that
good.
starting salary
The,
for
the
officers?
the new starting salary for non-certified, for people who are just entry level into the sheriff's office now, is $45,718.40. So
That's nice money.
Herbert, you ready to go?
come on down.
You ready?
And by the time when they get to working and they work the way the 12-hour shifts work, and the overtime they can make it, they'll be making close to 50,000 or even more,
Yeah.
fairly easily.
But
So
you
that's
gotta be
good.
the right kind of person.
You gotta-
It takes a special kind of person to work in law enforcement. So just anybody doesn't need to apply just because you're looking for a job, because that's not a job for everybody. So I'm gonna let you go on with
right.
the rest of this
All right.
this story.
Well, now when we talk about the school zone cameras, and there's been a lot of conversation in the community. There's people that were that had, I don't know whether people got tickets outside of when school was in session or outside of when the lights were flashing. Uh, it's one of those kind of things that if somebody knows somebody that may have gotten one, whether they still have the ticket or not, I'm not going to argue. I know at the beginning there was some time when those cameras were sort of getting calibrated and getting situated, that there were some citations or warnings and things that were written at different times other than when school was in session. But I know Mayor Miller has looked and hadn't been able to find anything, say on a Saturday afternoon or whatever. But I'm not going to have that argument. If somebody thinks they know somebody that had one, I'm not going to say that they're telling a story or that it doesn't exist. What I wanted to do is sort of hit the reset from where we are right now, because you have some people that want to do away with them completely. You have some people that think that they do provide a service, and I'm one of those that feel that there is a value to them. They do provide a service for public safety, their service for for the schools and for the kids and for the motorists that are going to the schools. But then I had found out that some schools had the administration at some of the schools, plus some of the parents and adults that had been going to schools, had made complaints to city administration about the cameras, and so they just arbitrarily cut them off at some of the schools.
So you had some schools where the cameras were not operating, but everybody else.
That's right.
Yeah.
There were some schools, I think there were some private schools where they were not operating. And so to me, that is an unequal application of the law. And I think that's what we need to look at going forward. That whenever, if the law stays in effect to where they are still going to be allowed, that we need to do an education piece to say where these cameras are going to be and what hours they're going to be operational and what people can expect if they were to get a citation from them. So I think that we just needed to hit the reset button, let things cool off, because we have two bills in the General Assembly right now. We only have 2 days left in the legislative sessions. I think today, tomorrow, well, Friday is when it ends up. And both of these bills are a little bit different. One of them completely bans them. And from what I hear now, it completely bans them, but the ban doesn't take effect until 2028. So I don't know what that's going to do. And then the other one put some stipulations on them. It says that you have to give so many miles an hour grace period. It puts some stipulations for some signage. It does some other things to sort of give motorists a little more notice that the cameras are there, and also what their speed may be in relation to where they're driving in the school zone. So we just wanted to wait and see what the legislators came up with. If they come up with nothing, if neither one of these bills pass, then we go back to the law that's in effect right now. And we're going to look at that to see what latitude the local government, the local enforcement entities have in enforcing that regulation.
Now,
So then we'll go from there.
couldn't citizens, don't they have the option of maybe petitioning or going to address their county and request that not be enforced in their county? And can't the local governing body, which is the county commissioners, can't they rescind?
Well, it's an option. It was, even the law as it stands now is not mandatory. The
Mm-hmm.
county governments, city governments, they do not have to deploy these cameras. They do not have to put these cameras in the school zones. The law gave them the ability to do that,
Yeah.
gave them the guidelines to do that. But there are a lot of counties that don't have the school,
Right.
that don't have the cameras in the school zones. But I guess the people could, if they felt like that they didn't want them in this community, then they could make their voices heard, and the mayor and the commissioners could make that
Yeah.
decision to go away from them. But from a pure law enforcement standpoint, there is some value to the camera. There is an enforcement mechanism. It is just
Right.
another tool in our toolbox to use, because there's many times that I would get people tell me, Sheriff, if you'd put a car out on Zebulon Road or on Houston Road, you would, you could make up
Catch
your
all of
budget
it,
with all the
yeah.
tickets that you could
Yeah.
write. Well, a deputy sitting in a school zone is going to write only maybe 3 or 4 tickets in an hour, because he's got to stop somebody. You sit on the side of the road, you got to write it. And so he may only get a very fraction of those individuals who are really speeding, whereas these cameras get everybody that's
Yeah.
speeding. And so that's sort of what's going on with that. And so they do have a value from that standpoint for
Right,
public
right.
safety. And they do.
Nobody wants
That's right.
anybody's child
That's
or anybody that you care or you don't care
Yeah.
about. Nobody wants anybody hurt.
That's
so
true. That's
the
true.
basic tenet is sound, that it's about safety.
That's right.
However, so many tickets were written and so much money was collected until people started saying, and then when Fulton County refunded, as Patrick has mentioned, Atlanta did not wait. They refunded it last year because they found there was so much
Discrepancies,
wrong,
right.
right, in the in giving out those tickets. And there have been a few other places that have just gone and refunded because there was so much mess surrounding it. So Bibb County, I think there are always going to be questions. And so the average citizen, if you have that similar concern, you might want to attend the town hall meetings that are going to be held over the next few months and make your voice heard. And then see if you can come up with a strategy to keep this from being the problem that it's turned out. But we want to thank you for realizing that there was a discrepancy between certain areas, having the cameras and certain ones not. And so you just stopped it.
Yeah. Well, what we did is we are the enforcement mechanism. Our people look at them and approve the citation, so it can go on through to be mailed out to the motorist. So we just stopped approving those citations during this period of time, so that we can sort of let things cool off, let people know that we're looking at this thing, we're waiting to see what the legislators do, and then move forward from there. And this is not forever. We're not going to stop doing it forever. They will start back, but I can promise you that once we do, there will be clear information given out about when people can expect these cameras to be operational, and what they can expect from, if there's any grace of speed being given, what times it will be, and exactly where they're all going to be.
Well, Sheriff, this has been such a rough ride here. Isn't it possible that the people can petition the county commission and the mayor to reverse themselves on this whole thing and no longer move forward with the ticket?
Well, they could. However, we have to remember there was a contract entered with the speed zone camera company.
Yeah.
And so we're obligated, I think the county's obligated for a period of time for that. So I don't know if they were to say,
I think
well,
there's an out clause.
if there's an
though.
out
There's an
clause,
out
if they have to
in
pay
there.
out some money, because I was told we still haven't, even though we're not approving any tickets during this period of time, the fee for the cameras still come up. Well, there's enough money in the bank that we
well,
pay
the
that we
fee
can
was
pay that
$25 to the company per ticket.
per ticket.
So it's based on having tickets.
Yeah, it's based on having
So
tickets. Now,
that would be interesting to review that.
well,
I think we all need to be reviewing that. Herbert, I'm sorry I cut you off.
Yes, you did.
Well, go ahead.
Sheriff, if somebody get a ticket from one of your deputies and they choose to challenge it, where do they challenge it at?
All right. If you get a ticket from a deputy, pulls you over in the car, you can go to municipal court or either state court. Most of our tickets go over to state court of Bibb County, under Solicitor General Greist. Those do. Some of our tickets, some of our the speeding tickets, things like that, will go into municipal court under Judge Crystal Jones. So, but they have their day in court. Now these speed zone tickets are handled different. They can go to court. They can still go to court, but they will go to municipal court with those.
Yeah, I've heard somebody say they got a ticket and they was trying to pay it and couldn't hardly find a place to pay it. If they without sending it back, you got to send it back in the mail or something.
Well, there's a way here locally you can pay it online, or you can send it in through the mail. Either way, that's all handled through the solicitor's office.
He may be talking about the parking tickets. There's a place downtown next to the Dempsey.
Yeah,
right, where you pay your parking ticket.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But somebody was telling me they got a ticket and they tried to find a place to pay it and they couldn't find it or something.
Yeah, now that would be, there's information on the back of the citation as to how to pay the fine, both online and mail it in or call it in. I'm working with somebody right now that got a ticket up in Atlanta, and they're begging to pay the fine, and they can't even get Atlanta Municipal Court to help them out at all on it. So
theirs
we're
was
working
so
with
messed
that.
up.
Yeah.
They don't even want to deal with it.
Everybody wants the money, but sometimes they have some procedures that kind of out of it.
Yeah.
The people that get the tickets and they paid $100 go in and $75, I think you're saying, go to, you get $100 go in and the company take out $25. Where does the $75 go?
That goes to the county. That's where the money goes in for public safety. That's where yesterday, this commissioner, you were at the commission meeting, and where the commission approved for some of the school zone money to go to more money for the deputies, and then there was some money that went over to the school system too for some of their security and crossing guards and school resource officers. So ours is able to give all of our non-certified deputies a $5,000 a year raise, plus bring up our starting salary to up over $45,000, almost $46,000 now. So,
because these counties around are really, really going after our well-trained officers. They do that with the fire department too. Yeah. We train them, and then they come and they offer them some more money and a smaller territory to cover and everything, and then they jump for it.
That's
so
true.
We're always losing very fine officers. So the salary increase is one of the ways of retaining some officers and maybe getting some to join.
That's right. And we're also looking at a way, it's always been at the sheriff's office where that, and that's one of the things that's to help people back come and work for us. Well, I got to go work in the jail first. Well, we're going to start this year to where that we're going to fix it to where people just starting out won't have to go work in the jail. Now, they may have to go back there and work as part of their training regimen of coming on working at the sheriff's office, but to be assigned to the jail for any length of period of time, we're going to try to get away from that.
Yeah, well, that's good. Tell us about the jail. We'll talk a little bit about the jail.
All right.
We know that jail is old. We know that there's a lot of money that you have spent from different funds, lot that the county has appropriated for repairs at the jail. What's the problem with the jail?
It's just an old, decrepit old building. I mean,
How
I
old
can't say.
is like what 40?
45 years old, almost 46 years old. We moved in. We moved into the older part in February of 1980, so 45 years ago. The other part, what we call the new part, is going on about 20 years old now. So see, you can think about, uh, and that area is being used 24/7,
All the
365,
Yeah.
with people who I liken it as to an apartment complex or wherever. You have people living in there 24/7, 365 who really don't want to be there,
No.
and they really are. Sometimes they're sort of disruptive and are damaging things out on the street. Well, they come to jail and do some of the same things. We have a trouble with the plumbing. They will try to flush. We had a whole blanket, 6 foot long blanket that somebody had flushed down into the plumbing system, that we have to fish it out and do
Yeah.
that. And they do that just to create mischief, just to disrupt the
Yeah.
facility and do things like that.
You have a number of folks who have mental health issues
Exactly.
too. So how are those dealt with separately, or do you feel like that's adequate?
Well,
what's in place?
And that's, jails are your largest mental health hospitals that they are. About a third of our folks have some type of mental health or substance abuse problem. And that's where a lot of these individuals are causing disruptions in the jail, because they're mentally ill, or they're not stabilized yet, or they're in such a bad shape that that they have to have constant supervision, constant monitoring. And so that's one thing, that if we get a new jail or get some type of facilities, I need space for the sickest of the sick, meaning the mentally ill and the physically ill and the meanest of the mean. We have over 1,000 inmates in the jail, but there's only about 40 or 50 of them that are really creating a problem as far as being disruptive or being violent. And then you have probably a couple of hundred who are sick or have mental health challenges and things like that. So if we had better places inside the facility to hold those individuals, it would be a big help for us.
Yeah.
I like to say I'm old enough to remember when I first returned to Macon. The sheriff was Jimmy Bloodworth.
Yeah, I remember him.
I think he ended up going to jail, or he was taken from the office because of the illegal things he was doing.
Yeah, yeah.
The sheriff after him was Ray Wilkes.
That's right.
He's the one that a discrimination suit was filed against by Linda Mabry and Bob Steele.
That's right.
And I can name the sheriffs from there all the way up. And I think you one of the best ones we had.
Well,
in comparison to what those guys. So my question to you, I know this is early, but Trump is already saying he's going to run again, and he don't supposed to run again. But do you think you will run again after this term?
I don't know. Every term I've said this is going to be my last one, so I don't know. This is my first year of this term, and during the first year of every term, I say, look, I'm not going to make a decision on all of that. I've been in this business for 45 years, and this is my fourth term, 12th, 13th year as sheriff. So it's been a tremendous and a great run. So I don't know. We'll see. I'll make a decision on that in another year or so just to see. But it depends. Sometimes I got to go home, Herbert. I got to retire. Right. We'll see at some point.
Sometimes people get so good at it, they're so comfortable at it, they don't want to go.
Well, those are the folks most folks want them to go. When they get in there and get too good with it, they get lazy or they get complacent. And I hope that I don't get that. Even whenever I do decide to retire, I hope that people don't say, "Man, I'm glad he's gone. He done got to where he wasn't doing much of anything." But I do want to contribute as much as I can for as long as I can. So we'll see. That decision will be made down the road. My wife seems to think that probably I need to go home, but we'll see. We'll make those decisions.
Things for you to do.
we'll make that decision. I've got a little 2-year-old grandson too. That's my heart. So we're gonna see what we're gonna do in a couple of years.
Desmond Brown is on the line. He's on Facebook Live with us. Erica White says you have to pay a fee online to pay for the school zone cameras. And Teresa Henderson Hill has joined us. She says, are you saying the schools have an option to turn the cameras off without reaching out to the people who actually issue those tickets?
Well, it seems so. I think they reached out to the mayor's office, and some of the private schools reached out and had some complaints, and so they were turned off. And from what I understand, later on, there was one of the public schools too that the cameras had been turned off or
Oh,
never been on.
really?
So if that's part of this education piece when we start this back. Either you want them or you don't. If you don't
Yeah.
want them, let's don't. They left the
That's
camera
why the
apparatus.
public has to get
Yeah,
involved and let folks know.
exactly. They left the cameras up there so it would give the impression that they were operational, but they really weren't. So I don't know. That education piece needs to go
That's
out
right.
there.
Before we run out of time, we have another caller on the line. Caller, welcome to Ask Elaine.
Hey, Miss Lucas, this is Wade. How you doing?
Wade,
Hey, Wade.
doing fine. How about you?
I'm good. I'm doing good. Let me give you a
I
little
heard the folks kicked you off of the paratransit bus illegally.
Oh yeah, yeah, they did. They did, and I don't know why they would do it, but I think it was something motivated by the CEO.
Well, you keep going telling on them. That's probably why.
Yeah, and look, this is much bigger than me because there are a lot of people who are being mistreated. They're afraid to come down and say what is wrong. They complain to me and others, and then we go to the meeting. They say that me and my cousin is the only ones having problems, and we know that it's not true. We're trying to get people a venue so that they can form a committee, a group, so that they can feel more empowered. They can know what their rights are. They can know that they can get due process when necessary. And so we're going to continue to do that as long as I got breath in my body. And I want to say this too. The sheriff was my lieutenant when I was on patrol.
That's right. Wade and I rode together.
That's a long time ago.
And he gave me a nickname. Sheriff, do you remember the nickname?
The Wad Horton.
That's it.
He was a bodybuilder. He'd bring his food to work.
He's still a bodybuilder.
He really is. He was a hoss, man. I was proud to have him ride with me. My spindly self. I'm proud to have Wade.
I know you were.
He is a great man.
Yeah.
And was a great deputy when he worked for us, and then he worked the radio room and stuff. So he's a great person.
Yeah. And after putting his life on the line like that for all those years, has a degenerative eye condition, which has taken his sight, but he's still coming down to the commission meetings. He's still taking paratransit down to the transit authority meetings on your behalf. All of you who know you need the transit authority to get around, because 40% of our population is without a car. 40%. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you this. The transit authority, at least the executive director, is talking about raising your fares again. So we're going to have to pull together a group to fight that. We are going to fight against that.
Yeah.
Let me ask the sheriff something.
Okay. Go ahead.
Let me say this. I'm gonna hang up because I know y'all run out of time, but I just wanted to thank my East Side representative, East Side the best side. I'm from Pleasant Hill, but East Side the best side right now. And I want to thank Miss Lucas and Stanley Stewart, who have stood in the gap with me to serve the people of Maitland-Bibb County. And I thank y'all.
We can be there. We're not scared.
Good man.
David Lucas says, if you're scared, don't let us know you're scared, so we won't put you up front. We'll put you in the back.
Way back then, when I first got back to Macon, the sheriff department was almost all white. They had a couple of guys, Milton Vincent and a couple others, that was there that really wasn't effective in doing things.
Mhm.
And now the situation has changed. What's the percentage of blacks and whites on the sheriff department?
Well, our sheriff's office mirrors the community. We're about 58% minority to white, so we're pretty close to the community, and that's during my career that whole change has come. When I first started, it was mostly white, mostly male, and so we have moved all the way through now. Now it's a gender change. We're getting a lot of females. In fact, the folks we were interviewing before I came in here this afternoon, females, great. Gonna be this. I invited her to come on the show with me here with y'all, and she said no, she's a little scared. So,
Well,
but it's
later,
great people. Maybe later.
I noticed that the change has been, and you are asking right now. I see you're advertising Informer from some time, asking for new people.
That's right.
I think it's a great career for a lot of people, and if you still need people, some people should go down there and apply.
Come on down.
Yeah. Well, our time runs out so fast. Sheriff Herbert Denard, thank you so much for tuning in, and thank all of you. We didn't get a chance to read all your comments out loud on the air, but people can come on to the Glory Live and access this. We'll see you again next Wednesday for another edition of Ask Elaine. See y'all.
Connecting the community through gospel. The new 107.9 FM, W300EB, Macon, and WDDO 980 AM, Perry, Macon.